China's Four Pests campaign, Australia's Great Emu War, that time a seagull shat on my head. History has proven time and time again that human beings and our avian compadres don't always get along. Thing is, birds can be pretty smart and pretty chill, and while humans have waged war on them on more occasions than one, birds have been part of our society for thousands of years, just like dogs, horses, and monitor lizards. This was no different during World War II. Birds were employed by both sides for a variety of purposes, yet mostly for communications and intelligence purposes, and many paid with their lives. In this video, we're going to talk about the rats of the sky, as well as one British unit whose job it was to assassinate Axis-aligned birds, and even just neutral birds who were simply going about their business. As would turn out, pigeons are a cornerstone of this story. Throughout the Second World War, the British employed as many as 250,000 homing pigeons for communications and intelligence purposes. While they couldn't quite match the speed of a radio wave, the enemy could only intercept a pigeon's message if they physically caught the thing. Another major advantage of pigeons was that they didn't rely on electricity nor any technology, for that matter, which made them a fantastic substitute when radio communications went to crap or didn't exist in the first place. In the words of Major J.J. Baker of the British Army Pigeon Service, the pigeon to the army was like a revolver to a civilian. You probably never needed it. If you did need it, you needed it badly. Additionally, unlike military runners, as in human messengers, pigeons couldn't be tortured into giving up intel either, as, despite what you might believe, pigeons can't actually talk. A major downside of homing pigeons, however, is that they were a sort of one-way deal, as they were trained to find their way home, not relay messages over a war zone. As such, the birds first had to be transported to a specific, sometimes very distant location for the system to work. Often, this was achieved by stuffing the poor creatures into a container attached to a small parachute, then punting them out of a moving aeroplane. Alternatively, the homing pigeons could be strapped in with a human parachutist. On the subject of homing pigeons, which descended on Allied-occupied Burma alongside British intelligence agents specifically, Colonel William Raymond of the British Office of Strategic Services stated, after the agent had landed, cleared the drop zone, and had an opportunity to test his radio, he would release the pigeon with a coded message either indicating that all was well or giving instructions when and where to drop another radio. Another way in which homing pigeons were employed by the British was by dumping them in the thousands over enemy-occupied territory. For example, under Operation Columba, named after the bird genus Columba, the British parachuted more than 16,000 homing pigeons into France, the Netherlands, and Belgium between 1941 and 1944. The containers in which the pigeons were delivered also housed some thin sheets of paper, a pencil message tube, a fillable intelligence report, and instructions on how to write a useful intelligence report and attach the message to the pigeon. Ideally, the British wanted the containers to fall into the hands of the French, Dutch, and Belgian locals, whom they hoped would provide them vital information about the Axis occupations. Only 10% of the pigeons operating under Operation Columba returned alive, however, with just half of them carrying useful intel. You might be wondering why so few pigeons made it back to their lofts. Firstly, the containers didn't always end up in friendly hands, as Axis troops or Axis sympathizers might just as easily have found the containers. Assuming that didn't happen, many of the birds had a serious flight ahead of them, even as far as 400 miles or a little under 650 kilometers. During that time, they could potentially lose their way, get wrecked by the weather, or fall prey to larger, more vicious birds, such as falcons and hawks. And that was where our British bird murderers came into play. In 1940, the British banned the destruction of falcons and hawks nesting on the cliffs of England's east coast, hoping that a greater abundance of such birds would be an effective tactic in reducing enemy pigeons carrying vital intelligence out of England. This proved to be somewhat of a mistake, however, as Axis pigeons and Allied pigeons tasted around about the same to the birds of prey. Later, A high-up Allied intelligence officer by the name of Thomas Beats made an effort to correct this mistake, stating, "The predators do not discriminate between patriotic British pigeons and treacherous Axis birds." Please then, would we have these enemies of the pigeon restored to their true status as vermin? Additionally, the Germans had been training predatory birds to hunt down British pigeons, making the return flight from Europe to the UK. In the words of British author and BBC correspondent Gordon Correra, who wrote the book Secret Pigeon Service, the pigeon had its own enemy, the hawk, the falcon. The Germans actually weaponized hawks and placed them on the coast to hunt British pigeons and kill them. Now, the population of England didn't set out a bird murdering rampage or anything like that, but a small team of just 5 British MI5 operatives, chosen because they were exceptional shots, was assembled and then baptized as the Falcon Destruction Unit. Once more in the words of British author Gordon Correra, there were wild hawks and peregrine falcons on the British coast that would kill some of these pigeons coming back from occupied Europe with messages. So MI5 got in on the act. The Falcon Destruction Unit was the only MI5 team with a license to kill. Essentially, the Falcon Destruction Unit roamed the English coast in an open-roofed car attached to a caravan, blasting predatory birds out of the sky, abseiling down cliffs to line up their shots and set bird traps, and stomping unhatched eggs in their nests. Well, we're not actually sure about that last one, but one can assume. Some of the climbing they were doing was so dangerous that a member of the unit actually fell and lost his life. Now, more than ever, we're eager for your input. The Falcon Destruction Unit seemed to have been an elusive lot. Do you know anything about them that wasn't covered in this video? What about any other Allied or Axis efforts to destroy enemy and neutral birds? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. And just before clicking to that next video, guys, make sure you check out our all new channel called The Braved. Thank you guys so much for helping it hit 10,000 subscribers. And the videos we're posting there in the future are just going to get better and better. So if you want to know more about some individual badasses from all different eras of history, that channel is the place for you. And if you're more into music, check out our Relax Jack music channel, where we use some of the music posted there on the videos posted here. And if you want access to some exclusive videos and a behind the scenes Discord where you can chat to myself and the team, make sure you consider donating to our Patreon. It really does help support us, guys. And if you just want to join our wider community and receive access to some exclusive posts, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and our Discord server. Anyways, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you learned something new.